This week, there is, of course, only one game to pick. My Kansas City Chiefs are insultingly, once again, getting points. 1.5 against the Philadelphia Eagles. This line opened at the Chiefs minus 2.5. It got bet all the way to Philly minus 2.5. And it is now settled at Philly minus 1.5. I believe the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win. I believe Patrick Mahomes is going to do the one thing he has not done in his NFL career, which is have a start to finish great Super Bowl. And I think this Philadelphia defense is going to be exposed a bit on the back end due to the fact that they have not played great quarterbacks all year long. So this is something we've discussed on the television show throughout the week. I discussed it a bit on Monday's pod. It is worth mentioning again that the Philadelphia Eagles, for as dominant as the pass rush has been and as dominant as the defense has appeared to be, this is what they have done this season. They played Jared Goff, and the Lions scored 35 points. They played Kirk Cousins, give Cousins credit. Give the Eagles credit. The Vikings scored 7. Goff and Cousins would be two of the best quarterbacks they play all year. They then played the Washington Commanders, who in that game were starting Carson Wentz. They then played the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had the prince who was promised. However, in that game, if you remember, Trevor fumbled the ball 4 times and lost all 4 fumbles. Jags still scored 21. They then played Kyler Murray. They then played Cooper Rush. They then played, I believe it was Kenny Pickett for the Steelers. They then played, who the hell was playing for the Texans that game? Davis Mills. They then played the Commanders again. At this point, the Commanders were starting Taylor Heineke. They then played Matt Ryan. They then played Aaron Rodgers. He scored 33 points. They then played Daniel Jones, then Justin Fields, then Dak Prescott. He scored 40 points. They then wrapped the season playing Andy Dalton, Davis Webb, and then in the postseason, Daniel Jones and Brock Purdy / Josh Johnson. So, by my count, the Philadelphia Eagles played on the season 5 above-average quarterbacks. Goff, Cousins, Trevor, Dak, Rodgers. Dak put up 40. Rodgers put up 33. Goff put up 35. Trevor put up 21, but turned the ball over 5 times, 4 of which were fumbles. And if you remember that game, they weren't like forced fumbles. He was dropping the football. And then Kirk Cousins put up 7 points. My point here is, I do not think the Philadelphia Eagles are ready for the leveling up that playing Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense is. I do not think the Philadelphia Eagles were done any favors by the fact that they now head into the Super Bowl having not played a good quarterback, forget a great quarterback, a good quarterback since Christmas Eve, and they have not played, and I left out, by the way, when I was going through their game, they also played the Titans once, my apologies, and that was the game. Did Tannehill play the entire game there? Let me make sure. No, Tannehill got injured in that game. Malik Willis came in. But regardless, they have not played well against an above-average quarterback since the Jags game on October 2nd. And so, or I guess you could argue Kyler is an above-average quarterback. You could throw him there as well. That was the following week. I think that for the Eagles, had the bracket fallen a little differently for them, yes, they would have had to play tougher opponents or they would have had to play tougher games. But if they had been able to get through it, they would have also been more prepared. I'm going to make another point here. That again, it speaks to how dominant the Eagles have been, but I also don't know how much it prepares them fully. The Eagles have not had to compete for 4 full quarters in quite some time. Because they blew out the Giants, because they blew out the 49ers, those games were laughers. The Chiefs, on the other hand, just had a 60-minute war with Cincinnati and had a game that was not decided until the final minutes against Jacksonville, in part because of Patrick Mahomes' injury. So for all those reasons, I think the Chiefs are more battle-tested. I think they have played far tougher opponents. I think they come into this game ready for everything. And Philadelphia, if the Chiefs' offensive line can hold up just enough, I think the Philadelphia defense can be had. And then there's the Jalen Hurts part of it, which is he has not looked good throwing the football since his injury. He keeps telling us he's hurt. He has thrown for less than 280 yards combined in this postseason. And he's yet to throw for 160 yards in either of these games. And he hasn't exactly been a super dynamic runner in either of these games. Also keep in mind, the one big passing play Jalen has in these playoffs was an incompletion that was incorrectly called a completion. Without that play, he's under 230.
It all kicks off Super Bowl Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.